Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium following Tennessee's 13-2 win in 7 innings. You'll never believe this, but another run rule victory for Tennessee this afternoon. They sweep St. Bonaventure, and the offense was once again the story. Maybe took a couple of innings to get going, but a couple was truly just a couple, so not too long. It feels long for this offense when they go 2 innings without scoring, and then they were able to open things up. Levi Clark hit another home run. I know that's also surprising. 1 of 5 on the day. Stone Lawless had 2. Dalton Bargo hit 1. He had a terrific weekend, and then Chris Newstrom, the freshman, the talented freshman, hits his first career homer. So take it where you would like to, Wes, because there's a lot of guys at the plate we could discuss.
Yeah, it's funny that, and Tony Vitello mentioned this a little bit on Saturday, that people start to freak out when there's like a 0 in the first inning with this offense now, because the bar has been set at such a level that it's just kind of dumb at this point. But in SEC play, maybe that'll change. Maybe it won't. I mean, who knows? But just a really solid day. Yesterday, Curley's home run was a bit of a Lindsey Nelson special, if we're being honest. All 5 of those today were legit home runs that would have left any park. I mean, Newstrom's was just a missile the other way. I mean, to hit the ball right of center like that, he got all of that one, it felt like. And Bargo's was 105 or 106 off the bat, went 410 feet. Just looked really good. And I don't think St. Bonaventure has bad arms. I think they're okay, actually. They came in here with a winning record. There's a good coach there. They have a good program. But at the end of the day, this is what you expect Tennessee to do. But that doesn't mean that you sit there and don't say anything when it happens. You still got to say, like, okay, that's D1 pitching, and you hit about 1 million more home runs. So good weekend.
Absolutely, and it was a good weekend for the pitching staff as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought a good afternoon, given the fact that they tried to throw everybody who has not thrown, and still were not able to do so. Several guys were throwing a bullpen after the game. The guys who did not throw this weekend, they did have 7 walks as a staff. 9 guys, I believe, threw today, and 3 of those 7 walks were from Tanner Wiggins. Frank Anderson won't like the 7 walks from the group, but aside from that, it was a strong afternoon for the pitching staff, and the one that stood out to Tony Vitello was Braden Krenzel, the freshman, and that's kind of been a theme in the post-game interviews after Krenzel has thrown. He's usually one of a bunch of guys who have thrown, and Tony always mentions that he's the one that kind of stood out the most. Yeah,
and you see this a little bit in the past with someone like Binky, who, before we really started seeing him a bunch, you heard about him a bunch. And Vitello sometimes he sees a guy like, love all players equally, right? But sometimes there's a young pitcher that he's like, I like him. I think there's just something about, the genes there, if we're being honest, and the competitive mindset coming, Kurt Krenzel's son, and he's a good pitcher, man. He looks good. I mean, you could say this about 3/4 of this roster. They would have more opportunities elsewhere, but sometimes, like a Marcus Phillips, you kind of keep fighting through that, and then boom, you're a Saturday guy, and you're an early round prospect. So it works out for more guys than it doesn't. But I felt a little bit for Bryson Thacker, because he's a guy who could have made his college debut, but the bases were loaded after Wiggins lost control a little bit, and so they brought in Krenzel instead because they didn't want to make Thacker's college debut be with the bases loaded. So I understand that. But the pitching staff, I think it was good to see them get into a little bit of traffic, because I think that's good for the defense. I think that's good for the pitchers, for the guys behind the plate, because that's going to happen in SEC play. Like, you're not just going to shut down. You're not going to no-hit everybody. It's not how it goes. You have to get through situations, and it's good to do those.
Yeah, and the big storyline post-game with the pitching staff was A.J. Russell. A.J. Russell has not thrown since the Tuesday midweek game against North Alabama before they went to Houston last weekend. So this midweek game coming up, it'll be 2 weeks since he has been on the mound, and we will not see him on the mound, it sounds like, the next couple of weeks. And don't freak out when I say that, because they're being overly cautious with him. Tony Vitello said that AJ has not come close to having any setbacks. It's just he got back way sooner than he was expected and probably supposed to. And so he comes back way soon, and it kind of clicked in everybody's head that, okay, this is soon. Let's make sure he's ready for April. So I know there's been some concerns and questions as to why AJ has not thrown in a game. He's continued to throw bullpens. Everything's gone fine. And again, Tony Vitello said that there has been absolutely no setbacks. They're just being overly cautious, making sure he's ready for the stretch run in SEC play because his draft status, it is what it is. He's worth a lot of money. And you want him available this season if you're Tennessee. And if you're A.J. Russell and his camp of people, you want to make sure that, yes, he has success this season, but he's set up to be successful in the long term, the next step professionally as well.
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was good anyway for Vitello to come out and publicly Sunday admit what we had been hearing, what we sort of heard, because it's the kind of thing that it's true. It sounds weird, but it's true. He is so far ahead of the curve that it's scary. To be honest with you, that's the problem. He is so far ahead of the curve that if Russell got his pick, he'd be out there right now. Like, he is furious at times that he's not able to go pitch. I'm just calling it what it is. He's furious. He wants to throw. He's like, I can throw in the pen. What's wrong? Problem is, when he came back, he was so far ahead of the curve, but even when they were like, okay, you can throw a little bit, they were expecting 92, 93. He's popping 97, 98. And I've heard maybe a little bit more in the pen at times. So that's scary. He's so far ahead of the curve, so far ahead of the skis that with an arm that's worth that much money on a team that, if we're being honest right now, could use him but doesn't need him, it just makes sense, I think, for everybody involved to say, whoa, because NIL money's good. Bro, it's got nothing on first-round draft pick money. First-round draft pick money is big-time money, and you need that because you don't get your next big deal maybe for 6, 7, 8 years. So that's how baseball works. So I would if he's my kid, I would sort of be saying the same thing if I'm being honest.
Absolutely. Other house cleaning notes, Hunter Ensley did not start today. Fans were a bit concerned with that as well, but just a maintenance day, just getting him off his feet. And really, Tony wanted to get some youngsters in there, and we saw Jay Abernathy in center. Chris Newstrom went in right field for Reese Chapman fairly early in the game. Nothing wrong with Chapman, just wanted to get Newstrom in there as well. So a couple of injury notes, but nothing serious at all. Just a lot of caution and wanting to get some young guys reps before SEC play begins. We have all your Tennessee baseball coverage up at GoVols247.com. Tennessee will be back in action on Tuesday against West Georgia for this week's midweek game. And in the meantime, again, we'll have all the Tennessee baseball coverage you need up at the site. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.